lovely Mr. Rogersian body.
Look, dude, it's tough to look this hot, and it's tough to be Dave Grohl in a Mr. Rogers outfit, but I make it look good.
Seriously, I actually now like desperately want Dave Grohl to do an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
I want Dave Grohl to do an episode of Vox Coin.
Well, I mean, some things are more achievable than others.
Well, listen, I think that if you're part of the Dave Grohl lookalike club and you win the lookalike contest,
there is that.
I should be able to meet Dave. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, didn't they do that for the Pedro Pascal?
The Pedro
lookalike?
Pascal one. They also did a Timmy Shimmy.
Didn't they get like 25 grand too? Like it was a.
They've had some good lookalike contests.
Wild, like money for lookalikes. Yeah. I just woke up like this. Well, I did shower today. That's true.
Have you ever heard the old story of the SNL impersonator? I can't remember exactly who it was. Maybe it was Daryl Hammond.
Yeah,
who was a legend,
amazing
impersonator.
Yeah, great.
That they were doing a Walter Cronkite sound-alike competition on the radio.
No.
Yeah, they were doing it on the radio. Call in,
cool.
Give us your Walter Cronkite impersonation. And they were so bad, it was annoying him as he was driving. So he pulled the car over and he calls in and goes, "This is Walter Cronkite. I need you to stop this competition immediately." And he like does a spot on Walter Cronkite. They stop the competition, just dead.
That's amazing.
Immediately ended.
That's amazing. I love that.
But there's something to be said about the power of a brand and its recognition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. 100%.
And so being consistently recognizable,
it's kind of helpful.
That's what a brand kind of is.
You've done that.
I have done that.
You have like a hairstyle. You do that. I do.
I do.
You have a hairstyle. You have a vibe. You have a
I got the Star Wars posters in my office. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's even in small things. The style that I deliver content in. I mean, there is a much greater depth to a brand than most people understand.
When you say brand, because like this is fun. One of the things that I know, even when I speak to Fortune 500 marketing executives, brand has become a non-word.
I get you. I get where you're going.
Like because it's kind of like people go, well, what do you mean? And if you're talking, depending on who you're talking to, where they're at in their marketing journey, if they're an owner founder of a small business, they may think logo, website, business cards. That's my brand. As you get larger, people are like, well, a brand manager is really making sure like brand standards, guidelines are met, that we have like a brand voice. The thing that is interesting, though, is that there's always a finitude for a lot of those people on how they.
The word of the day, kids, is finitude.
I didn't even have to use ChatGPT for that. So there's like a finite space where the brand occupies. I'm curious, how would you, Jake the Wizard, define brand?
I think that brand is when a set of colors, words, shapes, and other manifestations embody a specific feeling to the person when they see and feel and hear those things.
Love it.
That feeling doesn't have to be a happy one.
Sure.
For a brand to be effective.
Sure.
I mean, Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger is a brand.
Yeah, totally.
Nightmare on Elm Street is a brand.
Totally.
And the other really, really cool thing about a brand that's an extension of that is that when you see it, you know it.
Right.
There is no explanation required.
Right.
And it's any element, any piece, any part of that right? So like you can know a Christopher Nolan film with your eyes shut.
Yep. It's got an energy to it.
It's got an energy. His soundtracks, they kind of vibe the same way across all of them. He's got that that whole thing that he does.
Yep.
And so and then it fills you with a feeling, right? It fills you of the first time you watched Inception, when you watched the Batman films, like, you know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very hard to cultivate though.
It is. And it takes consistency, longevity, depending on how big your target audience is, could take you a long time, could take you decades to reiterate over and over and over again. One of the things that it's easy to get into this month, this week, this quarter, this year. And it's like, man, that matters to the work that you're doing right now. And also long-term wise, we're talking like decades, man. Like, this just takes a long time.
Well, I mean, I'll counterpoint you a bit. It takes a long time for you to influence the way your brand is perceived.
Correct.
It takes a very, very short amount of time for someone to create a brand perception.
Very good mention there, yeah.
Perfect example of this is Hawk Tua. Spit on that thing. That girl is branded.
Totally.
Right? Cash me outside. How about that? That is instantaneous brand. The problem with instantaneous brands is they're actually really hard to shake if they're not what you want.
That's right. Yep. Well, and I also think too, like, so I have a very good friend named Reprez. He's a master branding individual, and he wrote this book called Your Brand Should Be Gay. And it's a fabulous read, but I love his definition of brand, which is it's a desired perception. A brand is just a desired perception, and you're going to have a different desired perception based off the audience as well. And so, like, again, I think about like, you can have a brand like a sports team, and to the fans, the team is like, their brand is like, oh my gosh, I feel at home. That's part of who I am. That's part of my identity. Mm-hmm. To an opposing team, it's the opposite. It's
rage.
Yeah, it's gross. It's like, no, I don't want that. Get out of here, And so I think that you can have a desired perception that actually is geared towards one audience, mm-hmm. and is actually, you're trying to have a different, or you're going to intrinsically have a different perspective just because somebody opposes your stated side.
Well, I think that this manifests really simply, like very obviously, in remakes.
Yeah.
Like the Harry Potter remake is coming up from HBO, which that's another brand conversation.
Ooh.
But everybody who grew up, and I am that target demo. Yep. I grew up with Harry Potter, like that.
Under the cupboard.
Daniel Radcliffe is my Harry Potter.
Yeah, totally.
And this whole new wave, this remake, the people who find that brand, that original branding, the goods, are going to inherently dislike, the new brand, the new style.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be
for no reason other than they just love and have brand affinity with the original.
Well, and that's, I mean, people really love Game of Thrones. We were talking about that yesterday, another HBO. Mm-hmm. The buzz around the House of the Dragon, same universe, not the same. Mm-hmm. People are just out. They're like, nah, it's not as good. It's not the character development. It's a little bit fast. And I think there is something to, you build a brand around a specific style. Mm-hmm. And then there is the challenge, I think, as an artist or even as a company, you evolve.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, I think about this a lot with musicians. You want them to keep creating music.
Yes.
But there's this weird thing where like, don't make every album sound like the first album that I fell in love with you on.
Right.
But
everybody wants to be the Beatles.
Don't depart too far.
Right.
And it's hard.
And you have those rare successes like the Beatles.
Right.
Who literally went from that like 50s early rock vibe into, you know, their later albums are much more orchestral and transcendental and bringing in sitar and
totally
just completely breaking their original brand. But they were able to thread that all together and held the brand. All of that was able to exist in there comfortably for people.
Yeah, and I think that that's part of the challenge is, okay, so when as your brand, your company, your music group, whatever, like as you develop and you grow, how do you demonstrate that without losing your core identity and without turning off your raving fans? Because you can have raving fans in business and, you know, at Bonnaroo, it doesn't matter where you're at. You can still have those people that are just all about you. You know, you brought up HBO, and they're going back to being called HBO, by the way. Which I think that you and I had a similar. I remember when this happened, and you and I don't know that you and I had met yet, but like you and I talked about this early on when we first met about like the switch to Max. Mm-hmm. You're like, this is the weirdest thing ever. Why in the world would you do this? And part of that idea was, it was like, everyone knows you guys as HBO. Everybody has a standard that they put up for HBO as like great TV series, really excellent, amazing. Some of the best TV shows we've ever produced in the past 50 years have been on HBO, and they dropped it. What were your thoughts when they did that? I mean, again, I'm projecting, but like, how was kind of your...
So specifically with that, you have to realize that a branding decision that bold is a boardroom decision.
Totally.
That didn't come from some marketing guy that was like, I got an idea, guys.
Right.
Like, there's a boardroom decision that made that. And I understand it because HBO is owned by Warner Brothers.
Right.
And Warner Brothers built their streaming platform. Well, they built the HBO streaming platform. They wanted to bring their Warner Brothers content like Harry Potter. You know, I think they also have the rights to like Lord of the Rings and Looney Tunes and many, many, many other successful IPs.
Totally.
But they didn't want those IPs. They're in contrast to what HBO is known for.
Sure.
Right? We've all seen the HBO joke of, you know, it's HBO. Like,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not TV, it's HBO. Right? Like,
that's right.
And so I think that boardroom decision was, we had HBO. We went to HBO Max to define it as a streaming platform, like Disney Plus, HBO Max.
Sure.
Makes perfect sense. Paramount Plus.
Sure. Right?
We needed to define it. And then they said, we want to bring our catalog over. We don't want to build a new platform and try and get users there. We've already got this HBO Max.
Right.
And so like, but we need a distance from the HBO name to let the rest of the catalog feel okay. The reality is, on the street, nobody gave a crap that it was called HBO Max and it had Warner Brothers content. Like, no one cared.
Right.
That was a total boardroom, got in their own heads. I always think of this bit from Family Guy.
Okay.
There's an episode that they're making fun of the Oscars when they had the wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah.
That was a real thing. Family Guy mocked it. They had David Hyde Pierce's pants fall down.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
And so it then shows the boardroom of like the FCC. And they're talking and they're like, gentlemen, we have received 9 calls about this incident. That means that 9 billion people are upset about this.
Hilarious.
And then they proceed to the rest of the episode is like FCC crackdown on everything. So that's what I think of, though, when these boardroom conversations happen. It's like, do you really know the real perception on the street or not? You made a bad decision, but you're rolling it back. Let's all chuckle about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny now, right?
And they've made fun of it.
Yeah, totally.
Which is the right way to do it.
So what I think was interesting about that whole transition too was, because you do have a point, they went from being HBO to the streaming service, HBO Max, because there was just an HBO streaming service for a little bit.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. I know because I had it. And then they did HBO Max and included all this stuff. They also changed the colors. So the original HBO colors were like a dark black and like a steel color with some white. And they went to like a purple that was really nice and playful and fun. I thought they could have stuck with that. Mm-hmm. And then when they made the decision to just call it Max, I was like, everybody universally thought this is dumb.
Well, the double down on that, I don't know if you remember the transition. You had to install the Max app. Right. You had to completely, it wasn't like we just updated the branding on this. You had to move to a totally new app to make it work.
Insane.
Which confused the crud out of everybody.
Yeah, we're like, wait, I wanted to just watch the show. Why do I have to download a new app? Yeah, so weird. So they went back on it. I feel like that was a move to try and regain some of the brand equity that they took decades to build, mind you. Do you see that? Yeah, I mean, obviously they think it's going to help them. Do you see that helping them now? Because I also want to talk about this, how this like works for other businesses and like how this plays out. But do you think they're going to get something back by reinstalling that name? Is that your hypothesis, or what are your thoughts?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about brand, is that once a brand relationship is established within a person's brain, heart, soul, whatever, it's there. And you're going to experience it every time you see it. So they didn't erase necessarily the brand perception. They just went away from it. And so now they're coming back, and it's like coming back home.
Yeah, it feels like putting on like a comfortable pair of jeans.
It's not TV. It's
HBO. That's right. So when you think about how you transition, because I mean, it's a good case study for like, dude, you put a lot of energy and effort into this, and then you killed it. It'd kind of be like if you buzzed your hair all of a sudden and shaved your face. It would be a look.
Wouldn't be a good one. Let me tell you.
But there's a lot of energy and effort that you put into, putting yourself out there in a specific way. Or if you change, if and when you change up your background,
it's going to happen.
Right. Then it's going to be like, oh, that's new. And you even did it the other day just because we were shooting in here and you were doing a live last night on TikTok. And everybody's like, where are you? So there's something to that. How do you navigate that as a business thoughtfully? Because it's not a small move. People change their name. We've seen it have some success. People change their name. It's not successful. What's kind of your thesis around all that?
It's nebulous. It's not, okay. I'm not going to give a great, clear answer here. But there is, if you're going to make a change, it has to be objectively better.
How do you know that though? Like I'm gonna push back respectfully. How do you know that? How do you know that? Because like everybody
market
thinks
testing. You gotta do some market testing.
So if somebody, at a bigger scale, larger companies, lots of customers out there, HBO as an example, do you think that they did market testing? Or do you think that they just made this decision in the boardroom, by the way?
It feels like a big boardroom decision, and there is an issue with market testing where it is a subset, it is a slice, and
is it maybe fair to say it's just like polling?
Polling, yes, but usually, and I've been watching Silicon Valley again on HBO Max. And they have a whole sequence in there where Hooli does like a test subject room.
That's right.
And the guy's like, how does this make you feel? Mary, Dave, Bob. Like, it's very, very funny the way that they do it, but that's what happens in real life.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
real, like, market testing. And so maybe they just got a weird set of people in there that were like, maybe I don't care, you know. Who knows? Who knows? But I think there's two reasons to do a rebrand. Because I think a rebrand is different than a refresh.
Totally.
So to speak, we kind of know, like, Google refreshes their brand. Apple just did this right now.
Really?
With their iOS is going to what they call material glass.
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
You saw that? There's a lot of pushback on it right now.
Really?
Because it kind of made some things harder to read.
Oh, interesting.
It's not like I know what's going on right now.
Got it.
So there's been a little bit of pushback, but that's more in the refresh stuff. When you're actually doing a rebrand, the two reasons to do it is, one, there's something objectively better that better defines the identity that you're going for.
Yeah.
Or two, your brand doesn't have enough equity yet, and a rebrand will be more recognizable and help you build a better brand equity going forward.
Yeah, got it.
The perfect example of this is Monday.com.
God, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Perfect example
100%.
of you don't have enough brand equity because your brand isn't interesting enough. They were originally The Pulse.
DA Pulse.
The Pulse.
The Pulse. And we, my first company was actually using The Pulse back in the day. So we actually helped. We were like a super user for them. So they're like, can you guys give us feedback like as much as humanly possible? And I remember when it was right about the time that we were going to sell the first agency, and they made a brand change. And I was like, I wish they wouldn't have picked Monday.com, honestly, because I was like, dude, now we say things like, hey, can you put that in Monday? And for a long time, it was like, do you want me to do that on Monday, like the day, or you want me to put it into the system? But it helped them because they ended up doing an IPO. They've been wildly successful. They've grown, obviously. So like that worked.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot easier vernacular than Da Pulse.
Da Pulse.
Because how do you spell that?
Yeah.
You know, and like that's one of the first things that I think about for like any sort of brand name or website URL or whatever is like, can people spell this intuitively?
Well, I mean, it's the reason when we did the merger, that we decided ultimately to go with the Finch brand, because it's a 5-letter domain name.
Yeah, it's great.
That literally came down to that decision where it was just 5 letters. Everyone knows how to spell the word Finch.
Yeah,
it's a bird. It's easy,
super easy.
Whereas Wizard Marketing, it's a mouthful. Was a little bit longer URL. I like the branding better, but that's just my opinion.
But you're not biased towards it.
It's a moo point, really.
Moo point.
Like a cow's opinion. It doesn't matter.
That was a good pull.
Thank you.
That was good. So when people go to do the branding move, you think, or to rebrand, because it's different to refresh. I agree. Like, if you're changing a color, if you're highlighting an accent, if you're changing the actual aesthetics of it, like we did a refresh on the brand for Finch after the merger, where it was like, dude, we're not who we were before. We're kind of something new. So we went with a totally different color scheme, everything.
We went from like tech branding to bespoke branding,
right? Which,
I think that plays more in our favor, especially in our space. It's very crowded with tech branding.
Sure.
So, but the full rebrand is dangerous.
It's dangerous, but it could have the biggest upside too.
Well, and that was that second half, which is like, if there's something objectively better.
Sure.
Right? Like if we can take this and just, wow, like, oh my gosh, I like this brand more because this new branding is awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that there's a point in time where you have to make that decision of like, Is this the right move? How do I want to brand myself even? Because everybody has their own personal brand too. You've done a hell of a job with this, obviously. But I think that when you're looking at it from a company standpoint, you have to have a pain point that's so great that it's worth the risk.
Right.
And in order for a pain point to be so great, it's got to be at another level. And this is one of the things that...
I've got one.
Okay, great.
Now, this is on a smaller scale. This is a brand that I actually did the rebrand on.
Nice.
I worked with a company called Mind's Eye Creative. They're a print and promotions company. You know, you want business cards and pens with your name on it. That's what they did. Okay. And their URL was minds-I-CRE, the number 8.
Oh, no.
IVE.
Oh, no.
And it was just impossible. It was impossible for them to get traction.
Right.
And their logo, I called it a unicorn's asshole. It was basically a swirling rainbow that was supposed to look like an eye.
Cute.
Anyways.
We'll leave that. Yeah.
So I went in and I rebranded them into a very, very simple logo.
Okay.
It was an eye, but the the pupil of the eye was like the tip of a paintbrush.
Nice.
Okay. And we rebranded them to Mech Inc.
Nice.
And the fun part about that was that the domain name, because there's a lot of fun domain names.
Oh, totally.
And you know I love a good fun domain name. INK.
Oh, yeah. It's an extension. Like
is
URL
an extension. .ink instead of .com. So they were MEC.
Nice.
.ink.
Perfect.
And we just refreshed it. We walked away from that kind of rainbow aspect and made things, you know, very pastel, simple, bright, and it changed their game entirely.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there have been, anytime that I talk to people about brand names and that sort of thing, or even how you brand something in how you go about communicating that desired perception, it happens in everything that you do. Brand is really happening every moment of every day, right? Like you and I have a brand that we express to each other that, I mean, we're very, very good friends. And it's like we hang out, we chat, but there's an expectation that we both have of each other and how we interact still. Like that's...
Yeah. You get a weird slice of me though.
Do I?
Because you get Jake, you also get Jake the Wizard.
Totes.
Which is a brand that is separate from my, not in a great way, but maybe more over-exaggerated.
Yeah, well, I think it's a slice of who you are too. It's not like the full, and that's, people get that from me too, right? Like there's most people just get CEO Dave, or they get owner, founder, entrepreneur Dave. Very few people get the, we're sitting on the back deck drinking wine and bourbon Dave that you get to experience, but it's a more full version of the brand, you know? And so I think that you see a lot of those same things that you get out. And just same for you, man. Like if you ever have the opportunity to meet Jake and hang out with him, you're going to realize like, oh, he's super down to earth, just like he appears to be on everything that he does for social media and podcasts and all that shit. And he doesn't just talk about business and marketing. Who knew? He does talk about it a lot. We do talk about it a lot just offline, but it's not everything. And so I think that there is that full expression, which is why internal branding matters.
Oh my gosh. You brought one of my favorite topics.
Really? I actually didn't know that.
I wasn't even trying to tee you up with internal branding.
Really?
I think it's as important, if not more important.
I've got this internal branding idea for the agency that I need to share with you after this.
Are we going to send everybody a Finch? that they have to take care of. And if it dies, we fire them. Because that's what I want to do.
No,
Just kidding.
You either take care of the bird.
I just know that my wife hates birds, so it would be hilarious.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
Yeah. She grew up with birds, and so she now
That's
dislikes
fantastic.
birds.
Yeah, I think that their internal branding is undervalued, underrated, and people don't get it. It's really a way to, especially as your organization grows, once you get to around 50 people, you really need to start thinking about internal branding and taking it seriously. And I would even say before that, but definitely at 50 people. I mean, I mean that sincerely. Like core values. What are your internal comms look and sound like? How do you relate to each other? What's the norm? Like what's acceptable in the crew? So for us, a lot like. We're a very upfront and honest organization. We're like, just say the thing. Don't beat around the bush. Don't mince words. Like, just freaking go for it. Dude, this is a problem. I'm worried about this. This is a concern. By the way, we're kicking ass over here. Like, just own it. If you don't, then it becomes a challenge. And so then that's part of our internal branding.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I noticed. It's so small. It's so subtle.
Yeah.
That happened in the merger. Is that Finch internal comms are obsessed with emojis.
Yes.
Y'all love emojis.
Gotta love a good emoji.
And I couldn't, like, in Wizards corporate culture, like, emojis never existed.
Were you guys a GIF culture?
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah. See, I'm both. I love the GIFs too.
Yeah, absolutely. But like that's a little touch. That's part of the brand.
Totally.
Internally. No one else will ever see that from the outside. But everybody internally, like we literally communicate with emojis constantly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's part of the thing. So one of the things, just kind of like to wrap this up, I think that as we kind of talk through brand and some of the things that we've mentioned here, like some of the things that I kind of get from this are, if you're going to do a refresh, you're probably okay, do some market research, but it's not going to kill you if you update a color.
Right.
If you're going to do a rebrand where you're going to drop a key piece of information like HBO from your name, maybe you're going to go from Twitter to X. You're going to go from Pulse to Monday.
You're going to go from Jaguar to whatever the heck that was.
So awkward. We can't talk. Can't stop talking about it. You're going to want to do intense market research. You're going to want to really be thoughtful about this. The other side has to be so attractive.
Yeah.
It has to look so much better.
You can't just come out and be the Green Man Group.
Yeah, bingo. Right. You can't go from, well, we thought about we were going to be, powerwash.com and we're going to go to Power Washing Professionals USA. It's like, don't do that either. You have to have a better idea and everybody has to be on board. And then when you do that, you're going to want to think through how that impacts everything that you're doing, not just logo, URL, business cards, website, etc. It's got to be deeper than that.
Here's something you could test. If you were thinking about doing a rebrand.
Okay.
Pitch it out to the people who are most intimate. Usually it's your company culture people, but also maybe some close customers, whatever that might be. Pitch out them. If any of them come back with concerns or hesitation, trepidation,
right,
but they can't explain it, you're breaking your brand.
Ooh,
if they can't put their finger on why they don't like it, it's antithetical to your current brand.
That's good. Yeah. Very good. When you think about some of the other things that you kind of got from just our dialogue here, anything come up for you?
In so much as?
When you think about brand, I mean, like, because there are people that are watching that are high up at large organizations. There are people that are watching that are entrepreneurs, business owners, small growing businesses. Some of these conversations are coming up.
Yeah.
Some of these things are really happening.
Yeah.
And it's it's a bold move
Mm-hmm.
to be like, you know what? I think that we need to discuss the brand
Mhm.
overall and how we're approaching this. You know, in a previous podcast we recorded recently, we were talking about Wendy's
Mm-hmm.
and how they decided as a brand move to be the roast master on Twitter.
Yeah.
That was a decision. That's a bold decision. That was not
Mhm.
made lightly. So as people kind of go through and they're trying to figure out, okay, so if I'm going to do this, it's got to have a huge disproportionate return. I'm just curious if anything in our conversation sticks out to you as like, this is a trigger for that. This is a key indicator for when maybe it's time to broach that conversation. And when you do, you need to think through these things to make sure that you've got it all lined up.
One of the good reasons to start thinking about a brand pivot is when you go for a new audience. When you need to appeal to a new demographic that you haven't historically. And I wouldn't say that you should go after a brand new demographic you have no resonance with whatsoever. It should be like a sidestep. They're already
Sure.
aware of you. You're in their kind of zeitgeist a little bit, but maybe you're not at the forefront of their, you know, I think of Vans.
Yeah. Okay.
They were shoes,
Sure.
but skaters, man.
Right.
Like skaters found their shoe,
Right.
and then they became this like mecca grail of skating apparel,
Totally.
right? And so, but they didn't set out to do that.
Right.
They set out to make some shoes. They found this audience that was having some affinity, and they went sideways into it. So if you find that like, hey, we own this demographic, we want to kind of branch into some more demographics. Do we need to make an adjustment to our brand to appeal to that demographic? That might be a good trigger.
Yeah. Great. I love that. I love it. Well, thanks for listening to this episode of Vox Coin. If you want more content just like this, hit the like and subscribe button for more. We do have 2 other shows that we actually run every single week. You can catch us on Unicorn Campaigns and The Last Drop if you're looking for other business and marketing content. I am Dave Valentine. You can find me at RealDVal, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Dave Valentine on LinkedIn. If you want some information from Jake, you can go...
you can find me at The Wizard Marketing, anywhere you want to be.
Sweet. I love it, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening and or watching. Till next time, we'll catch you.
Stay classy, San Diego.